My name is Janelle Renee Jenkins, the daughter of Deborah Jenkins, the great-granddaughter of Elois Brown Young.
My name is Ruthie Levin, daughter of Ruth Dozier and granddaughter of Ruth.
My name is Sandra Elaine Boyd Praham, daughter of Doris Rice Boyd Edmond, granddaughter of Dora Rice and Carlina Boyd.
אני מיכל אברה סמואל, הבת של סמונש זלקה והנכדה של סנדו דקה.
My name is Samantha Keyshawn Brown, daughter of Samuel and Tammy and Rhonda, granddaughter of Virginia and Mabel and Roberta.
My name is Amani Ariel, daughter of Miriam Messinger and Felicia Hayes, granddaughter of Ruth Messinger and Betty Tucker, and mother of Naya Phoenix.
I don't have many stories of women resting. Whatever happens, you work through it.
You work hard, you keep working until you get there, you fall down, you get back up again, and that's it.
It's hard to manage that guilt, especially when I know that like my mothers and my grandmothers and my great-grandmothers like work their asses off, right?
There was really no self-care.
When I think about like how self-care is like portrayed in the media,
think about something that feels good.
Like people make it look all glamorous and like you're just gonna wake up and be like, I'm healed, I'm ready to go out into the world, or I'm feeling my whole ass, like all my chakras are in line, you know, all the things I did yoga today.
Yoga's not my jam.
We finished yoga and I'm like, can we twerk it out? And so we went.
I was born and raised in a little community of St. Louis called Kinloch. And Kinloch was a really thriving Black community. The mayor was African American, the doctors, the schools, and I remember, you know, we could go up and down the street and visit people that we knew. You know, they give you candy and you sit on the porch, drink lemonade.
I'm a third-generation Detroiter. When I think about my people, though, I really think about my great-grandmother. She's the daughter of sharecroppers, born in 1906, had a very, very hard life. She moved to Michigan when she was only 15, was able to own a home with only a second-grade education. She just built a life for so many. She birthed one son, but raised a block, raised a community. So home for me is Elois Young.
I was born in Riverside, California, to a very young mom and dad. Yes, we were poor, right? But I never felt that. Every single thing that I needed, I had it. It was definitely a village.
the closest to home is I would say I'm from stories and I'm from narrative. I grew up with two moms, one who is white and Jewish and one who is Black, African American. And my mom loves to tell this story that I went to a family daycare. It was run by a woman who's now my godmother, and she started it when she and her wife adopted their first kid. And then when I was about 4, I started going to preschool. And on my first day of preschool, and as a 4-year-old in the 90s, my mom was like, you might be the only person with 2 moms. You might be the only one. Like, I had never been in a space where I was.
I was born in San Francisco General Hospital. My parents are both African American people, born in 1916. My mother, I believe, couldn't have children, and so they adopted me. My biological mother is white, and she gave me up for adoption at birth. My biological father is Black. I don't know their history.
נולדתי באתיופיה, בכפר שנקרא עדה, החיים בכפר הם הדבר הכי נפלא שהיה. כל הכפר היה משפחה ענקית שורשית של ביתא ישראל ששמרה על היהדות, ולא היה לנו רע באתיופיה, אבל היה לנו חלום, היה חלום להגיע לירושלים. וכשההורים שלנו לילה אחד אמרו לנו תקומו ומתחילים ללכת, לא שאלנו הרבה שאלות.
Oh, my mom. Gosh, she was very beautiful. Everybody talked about how kind, my mother Doris was. She loved the Lord, though. She would say, with the faith, the grain of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain if you just believe and you just ask God. My grandmother, Carlina, was a very strict disciplinarian. She didn't play.
When my dad and my mom split, I stayed with my dad. And my grandmother. My granny then, she mothered me. I slept with her, I followed her around, that was my girl. I remember her saying, you gotta be a lady, you gotta be a lady. Although she cursed a lot, so I definitely inherited that too. So, oh no, it was a mixed messaging there, mixed messaging. She said, it doesn't matter if I say get over here or if I say get the hell over here. I'm saying the same thing and you just need to do it. There was never any disrespect. There was never even any attempted disrespect. My grandma Candy was always a mystery to me. I remember having a dream about her when I was younger, that she was a witch. But what I learned later is that, part of her spiritual practice very much involved African spiritual practices in connection to the ancestors. And that was something that absolutely was passed down from my biological mother, Tammy. Women in my family, aunts, right, who said yeah, girl, burn them incense, right? Call them the ancestors. Right? Pour that water and speak into it. All of those things. And read your Bible. I have memories of my mom making sure I always looked good, making sure I had every color beret in the box, always did my hair. My mom is an immaculate braider of hair. And so she was my own stylist for a long time.
Every year on my birthday, my mom would say, Amani Ariel, do you know the story of your birth? Something that she says is you're meant to be in the world. Mom and I wanted you so much. There was never any question of, I always understood how I came to be in the world.
My mom is that person who's awesome but doesn't know it. So she's walking around like a full superhero, thinking she's an average woman. Her mother passed when she was 15. And her father was paralyzed for most of his life. She ended up raising her younger sister, who's 7 years her junior, and also taking care of my granny. And she's done a lot of amazing things. She started a Martin Luther King March for the city.
ולכן אמא שלי היא באמת אישה שורשית שהייתה מודל לנשים אחרות. תמיד היו אנשים אצלנו בבית. ואחד הדברים שאני הכי זוכרת בתור ילדה, זה שבאתיופיה, כשהגברים היו הולכים לעבוד בשדה, כל הנשים בכפר היו מגיעות לבית של אמא שלי לשתות בונה. בטקס הבונה קורה הכל. שיחות אישיות, שיתוף הדדי, התייעצות, דאגה אחד לשני. ולכן אני חושבת שזה הטקס שמאוד מאוד מחבר אותי לתוך המשפחה שלי. זה לוקח אותי למקום של להיות רגע נוכח.
When I was 9 years old, my adoptive mother passed away. I don't think I got to appreciate her until she was gone. And the mirror switched. Mama, though I don't have any of the relics of you left behind, I see you in beautiful fabrics, sewing baskets, wooden spools of thread, and old-timey sewing tools. I see you in a pot of greens and memories of chitlins and okra and gumbo and lemon meringue pie. The you with a wig, or pressing your hair in the kitchen, hot comb on the Wedgwood stove. And your love. You are so very long dead in body, but you will always live in my memories, so sweet and so full of your love.
My mother is someone who feels the need to do versus be. I remember once she had a miscarriage and went back to work. And so if there was a gift I could give, I'd like to help my mother to relax and just enjoy and know that she's wonderful and enough if she never did another thing. And like there are definitely times where I was just keeping myself together at portions of my life. And now that I'm in a space where I'm not at this just make it through another day, I revel in this space to rest. So my sister Kayla died at 43 of breast cancer. Kayla was my favorite human in the world. So I took 12 weeks off work just to be with my sister as she transitioned through hospice. It was very difficult to see her pass. The self-care for me was in just spending time to love, like just sit and enjoy the love. And I needed that.
My grandma Candy had a lot of trauma, and there was a lot of things that she didn't share with my mom. And a lot of things that happened in her life that impacted my mom negatively, and didn't allow her, I think, to be the mom that she wanted to be to me. As a young adult, I went into a very, very deep depression. And it was something that I'm sure people in my life went through. I'm definitely sure that, my mom went through it, but nobody had ever talked about. And so it was literally a life and death situation where I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And it was hard, for my dad, because my dad was like, you just get up and you keep going. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Black people don't get depressed. Because that's how the culture is, like that martyr, right? That strong Black woman where you have to just show up, right? And you have to be a certain way. Where I got to the point where I was like, no, I'm not gonna cry, and I would hold it in. My heroine in that story was definitely my stepmom, because she really saved my life. She was willing to see what was happening and just be there, right? And just acknowledge, just give me space to deal.
After my mom died, a couple of years later, I found my adoption papers and found out that I was adopted. I didn't know that I was an adopted person. My father, though well-intentioned, was really a hard man from his life. And he didn't know what he was doing. And I ended up living with a lot of different people. It was kind of like foster care, but without the parameters and the system of foster care.
My mother, she had schizophrenia. So she was in and out of mental institutions my whole life. Every so many years, she would stop taking her medicine and then just kind of spiral out of control. And as a result of that, things began to really fall apart. I spent a couple of years in foster care. I decided on my 17th birthday that I would not go back. My high school counselor bought my graduation gown and all of that so that I could, be a part of everything. Oh my gosh. So, I literally graduated from high school one Monday and started college the next Monday in the summer because I had no place to go. And I think that certainly shaped my independence and my strong will because I had to survive.
להגיע לארץ זה מסע קשה עם חלומות מאוד מאוד גדולים. עם ההתרגשות הגענו לארץ, ובעצם זה היה פעם ראשונה שאחרי שנה בסודן במחנה פליטים, ופתאום אתה רואה פעם ראשונה בין אנשים לבנים, שהם יהודים מקבלים אותך. ובעצם המפגש הזה, המפגש הראשוני, זה היה מסע חדש. להיוולד מחדש. הדבר הראשון שעשו, שינו את השם שלי. זה התחיל מזה. ומהפנימיה, ובעצם בבית ספר לא מדברים לא על התרבות שלי, לא על ההיסטוריה שלי, ולמה אמא שלי צריכה להתבייש שהיא לובשת את הבגדים האותנטיים שלה. בכיתה י' בעצם החלטתי שאני עושה שינוי.
When I went to elementary school and people were telling me it's not possible to not have a dad, it's not possible to be Black and Jewish, I was like, yeah, but it is. Here I am. The other thing I would say about that though is I think I spent a lot of my life being in this defensive posture around my identity. I started journaling in college and I was like, okay, something has to shift. Like I was in a very like depressive state and I was not that psyched about journaling, but I was like, I have to do something. Over time, it really like became a way for me to like process all the questions that were swirling in my head, to like write those down and make space for new questions. And to the point where I was journaling every day and I could physically feel the difference in my body if I didn't.
Self-care for me equals love, equals being, equals separating from the doing. Like to just be able to come into a space and just be.
I'd say over the past few years, I've really been leaning into rest as a way to actively buck the system, to actively break white supremacist habits that are living in my body.
I'm always thinking about work, this I gotta do, that I gotta do this, I gotta go here, gotta be wife, gotta be mom, gotta be all these things, gotta be CEO. But when I'm golfing, in that quietness of that game, it's like my brain is not on that treadmill. It's just enjoying the nature and openness and quietness.
Being able to just be by the ocean, right? Because I need to hear those waves. I need to be outside or take a hike, right? I need to be somewhere where I'm connected to the earth and I'm connected to something divine in that way.
It's kind of oxymoronic, but I really work to practice self-care by pausing, actually pausing and stopping moving on Fridays. And on Saturday, to really fall into rest deeply.
One of my favorite holidays, like, still is Rosh Hashanah, and it brings me a lot of joy and rejuvenation to gather in a room of my loved ones, kind of have this moment of pause and be in the songs and the tunes.
When I think about my journey, right, around self-care and healing, it's around acceptance.
I think the biggest thing that's happened to me over the past several years is that I've grown to love myself. I think a big part of that has been being held so beautifully in sisterhood with other Jews of color.
Walking in that room and seeing all those Black and brown women like together who were leading courageously, leading boldly, but who also were like seeking to, heal thyself, right? Like heal thyself so that we can heal others was really powerful.
My heart just lights up when I think of Jaywalk. That moment of realization that I wasn't alone was so pivotal.
להיות חלק מקבוצה של ג'יי-ווק, זה אפשר לי להגיד שאני לא לבד, גם שיש אחיות לידי. חיזקו את מי שאני, והצליחו לראות דברים שאני בעצמי לא ראיתי.
Never did I think that like I would get 10 sisters. Like literally 10 ride or die chicks.
The trust was almost instantaneous. We weren't titles, we were just sisters.
With Jaywalk, while I was authentic, it was also a space that welcomed me to be so. Whereas in other places, I've been authentic and I've just been like, I know there are gonna be repercussions. There's gonna be this shakeup like, whoa, you're sort of moving the grid, or there's this resistance. Jaywalk was a very affirming, welcoming, reinforcing space of elevating and magnifying all the things that make you you. So I showed a little piece of me and they're like, give me some more. Like, great, nah, give me some more.
I don't have to explain myself to any of these people. And what is the space that opens for me to turn inwards and to pull from what others are sharing, but to also discover, like, what are the ways that being Jewish is really different for me than everyone in my family who came before me? And what will Judaism mean for my daughter?
Jaywalk has provided space for me to think about my ancestors more. They had to survive, right? They survived so that I could be in this space of resting. How much joy, how much love, how much strength, and trauma, right, has come through my lifeline. Jaywalk created space to just sit in that. I have these conversations now with my mom. As I'm just learning more about her, and I want to take her places. I have to buy her tickets, that's my secret, because she also won't waste money. So the only way I get her to relax, I have to send her a plane ticket, and I'll be like, you know how much money you'll waste if we don't come?
I will tell you that my mom and grandmother, both being so strong in their faith, they'd probably be turning in their graves if they knew I was golfing on Sunday. But, for me, the church and the love of God is in my heart, and I do find that space, to commune, with God and to talk to God. But I also, here on this earth, I need to take that space and make sure that I get in the rest, because I feel like I'm doing God's work every day in my career. I matter. And for my children and their children, being strong and being healthy and being strong in the mind is also very important for them.
I walked away with a really clear understanding of what it means to take care of oneself in a way that has nothing to do with this system of oppression that we are navigating. The ways that we paused, the ways that we rested, the ways that we nurtured ourselves. That is what I walked away with.